it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm in Aqualand pretty much by myself. I mean, there's nobody here. I'm working on a design of something that's gonna be pretty cool. Let me show you. This is the headquarters of Aquascape, which is North America's largest water garden manufacturer. And you might know the owner, Greg Wittstock, the pond guy. So I was invited here by Greg and Brian Helfers from Team Aquascape to do something pretty cool and one of a kind. Greg and Brian built a studio just for water feature artists. This is wild. We've got a whole house facade. Behind me, there's a deck right off of what would be probably like a kitchen slider. And then we've got this nice expansive space where they wrapped a pole with a tree. And in the back there, they've got this really awesome man cave. I've got so many ideas floating around in my head, and that's kind of what I'm trying to put to paper right now. We just got here tonight. I've got my whole team here. Tomorrow starts the fun. We are going to come in here and just create something that I feel like I would want to see in this backyard. I'm imagining this is my house. I walk out the back door and I'm envisioning this whole man cave shed as like an office. I would love to have an office off the back of my property and just have the sights and sounds of water to get out there. So I'm imagining like walking through gardens, crossing over water, looking out the windows and seeing waterfalls, a fountainscape or something around that tree. I want a lot of action, but I don't want it to be ostentatious. This is not something that's gonna be like Disney World. I don't think most people want Disney World in their backyard, but I want something really clean, really special, but just super awesome. I'm gonna work on getting those pencils to paper, come up with a preliminary design. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna get in here, the whole team and Team Aquascape, do some collaborating and get some shovels in the ground. See you guys in the morning. All right, we got started day one here in the water feature studio.
Yeah, don't call it a sandbox.
It's not a sandbox. You've already had a sandbox. So this is amazing. I showed you guys around a little bit last night. This is the brainchild of Brian Helfrich from Team Aquascape. Brian, just give me a rundown what your vision was here by creating this whole space. Never mind that, just giving up so much room in the warehouse to create this space.
Well, I would love to say that was totally my idea, but it was really Greg. Greg said, hey, I want to develop kind of more of a studio. The sandbox that we had before was really just a sandbox, and we could do some small features. And there was a lot of things that we couldn't take to its fullest potential with that sandbox. Now we can. I mean, we've got the full facade of a house, not a ranch style, a two-story house. Yes. I mean, who builds a two-story house in a warehouse?
That's legit.
Greg,
yeah,
probably the only person. I said I wanted to do a shed off of the back. I think he really thought I was thinking of like a little tool shed.
Yeah, a little plastic
but
thing.
I was like, no, we'll kind of make it nice and everything else. And so crew called the Shedsters actually came out here and put this thing together, and I love it because this really represents an indoor living area.
I want this in my backyard.
Yeah, me too. And so I think we really just wanted to try to develop something that was replicatable and that people could associate with, with their own space in their backyard. Yeah. So we've got, 40 feet by about 30 feet to play with some obstacles.
My thinking, so when I sat down and I just started sketching some stuff out last night.
Yep.
Which your measurements were way off, by the way.
My God. Here we go. So off. And so it begins.
What I want to accomplish here is, you walk out that back door. I picture that being the kitchen. Like you walk out the slider, you got a cup of coffee in your hand, you're on the deck, and you're in a staycation.
I'm gonna reenact that for you at the very end.
Yes.
I'm gonna walk out my kitchen with the cup of coffee.
I want you in a bathrobe and your underwear.
All right, bathrobe and underwear. You heard it. That's what he wants.
Before we get started, I want to introduce Chris Hansen. If you haven't met this guy already, why is my camera doing that? If you haven't met this guy already, he's Team Aquascape. He's the one that everybody fawns over, the real sexy guy.
Sexy guy.
Look at that beard. I mean, that's amazing. I don't know how you get anything done with that beard.
No, I can't.
And of course, we got Joanne here to supervise. What are you hoping to get out of this week?
Nothing. I'm here to see what my team and Team Aquascape can create in this indoor space. It's very exciting. First time, we're gonna set the bar right here.
So I think my guys are out in the back here. This is Aquascape's construction headquarters. They've got an awesome shop set up back here. We got all our guys. All right, let's get the rundown. We got Brennan, we got Anthony, we got Drew, Colby, and Wally. What are you guys hoping to get out of this week?
So the first group of artists to work in the water feature studio, but we're gonna be working alongside the Aquascape team with Brian, with Chris, their guys, and then with us here. So we're gonna get to use some new products.
Wow, that's unfortunate. I'm really excited for the experience. I mean, it's not very often you get to take your time and really observe all the rocks and really just take it slow.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really nice build. We'll be able to get two crews kind of running with Jack and Brian and Chris. So the two ideas, and we're going to mesh together, which will be cool.
Perfect.
I'm just really excited to work with Brian and Chris and his guys and get to experience this. It's really cool.
Come on, Wally.
And I'm new at this, so this is going to be a fun experience for me.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got everything laid out, at least the preliminary design. This is probably going to change and evolve as we start excavating, so we're going to be doing some over digging because we want to use some large character boulders. In order to do that, we've got to do some over digging, put plenty of liner in. This way, if we want to bump out or suck in a little bit, we have the flexibility to do that. Off the deck, here is where that pond is going to wrap underneath. We're going to bring that right in here, probably a good 1.5 feet or so you won't see any of the rock work that's here. Standing on the deck, you'll just be looking right into the water, nice and open. That's where I see those big fish coming up and feeding right from this spot. We've got the shape of our pond laid out. Over on the left-hand side, we're gonna have our intake. That's where our pumps are gonna be housed. We'll be skimming the water inside there. That'll be our maintenance point. And then we've got a cool shape going here. Very irregular around the outside. I envision stepping off of this deck onto maybe a flagstone landing, some sort of a hard surface, and then we're gonna use some fake turf to bring in some greenery. Brian's got some large faux boulders that we're gonna drop into the landscape, do some undulating with our grades. As you're walking through, you're kind of in the garden now. You've got large boulders on the left and the right. Bring the turf right up against the pond here. This is where we tie into that part of the system. So we go from about 3 foot deep in the pond up to about 18 inches. Right here, we've got laid out a bridge, some sort of a stone crossing. We're gonna find a slab that works in this area. I can see it framed with some large boulders, possibly even cut into the slab. Fish swimming through this whole area, right up through here. If you're looking from inside the man cave out to here, you're gonna get that visual of that whole fountainscape wrapping around that tree. We're gonna have some landscaping up behind it to really soften things up. And then over here in the corner, this is where we're gonna do our larger waterfall that we can see really well from inside this space. This area filled out really fast by putting all these different water feature elements in here, but I think it's gonna be super cozy when it's finished. So now we can move the excavator in. We're gonna start by digging the pond, get that in place, and then work our way from the back corner out. Let's get busy. We're less than an hour in and our pond is just about finished being excavated. Now we can go ahead and put our fabric in, followed by our liner. We're going with a 30 by 30 liner in this pond. We're gonna wrap it right up into the intake. From there, we'll be pumping water up to a 6,000 bivalves, which will start at the very beginning of the waterfall. And also we've got a second pump that's gonna feed our fountainscape feature that's going to surround the tree. So the reason I'm here, like I said in the beginning, is because of this guy. So Greg, go over your idea of what you want to accomplish with this whole water feature artist thing.
Obviously coronavirus has hit us all, and so normally we would be doing the Aquascape Academy in the winter. Instead of doing that, we've invited our top Aquascape artists of the year, past winners like Jack, who's the guinea pig for the first time, created a studio in-house in the warehouse right here, and every single week, all winter long, a past Aquascape artist of the year is going to be coming here, whatever your vision is, and our team is just supporting them, and we're looking forward to showcasing this on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, for the world to see what they can do in their backyard.
Awesome. I am really digging the way these large rocks are looking inside this smaller pond.
Anytime you can use big rocks like this, it just instantly looks more natural. It gives it that I was born here look. You know, we can avoid little hand-sized stackable boulders that make it look really man-made. It just looks better. And so this might take a little bit longer because we're really making sure each one of these rocks are sitting just right. We're often thinking about how the next rock's gonna sit next to them. When you're doing little hand-sized stuff, you just go, go, go. But it just looks so much more natural.
Our goal by the end of today is to hopefully get this pond to the point where it's just like finished work. We get all the big stuff done, so then we can move on to the next section. This is the end of day one. Our pond is pretty well laid out. All the big rock work's done. We've actually got a lot of the finish work done. The lights are in and we tested them. They're working. Which means now tomorrow we can start cutting in our deep stream that's gonna come off that edge of the pond. There will be a seam there that we have to do. We wanna bring that water right out from that far end of the pond and bring it right towards that man cave office shed back there. We're talking about some different bridge ideas. We actually might have two stones that cross with a gap in between and get that water just ripping through there like up high on the stone. That's gonna be a really cool effect. And I really wanna get that water close to that whole patio that surrounds the shed. My team working alongside Team Aquascape has really produced some awesome results today. I'm excited to see where tomorrow goes. We'll see you then. We are staying in Aqualand. There are actual bedrooms in here. This is a conference room, but off to the side, there's an actual bedroom. It's got a bathroom. And there's a few of these. What do you think, Joe?
I like it.
There are a lot of cool things going on here. We are overlooking the retail store. They've got water features every place inside here. Ponds, fountainscapes, got that water wall in the backdrop. Of course, they've got products. Check it out, we got all these cool vignettes of backyard escapes, fish everywhere, beautiful waterfall. Greg's vision for this facility was a workplace utopia. That's why he's got all the games upstairs, the soccer, the volleyball, the pickleball. He's got like little things to ride around this place. It's kind of like being at Google, I guess, where they have a lot of that kind of stuff. Every night when we're done working, we're upstairs, we're playing games, and it's all about building a culture and a team, and he's done a great job of that here. Back to the task at hand, we are about to start day 2 here inside the water feature studio. The pond is pretty much finished. We actually started putting some plants around it, started to do some of the edging. Those lights are all worked in real nice into the sides. Intake, a little bit of work has to happen there, and that'll get buttoned up this morning. Now we can start going upstream. Now I drew a sketch for this, but it's really just kind of a loose idea. This is organically taking shape. The whole fountainscape, I really don't know yet what we're gonna build, so once we dig it out and get some of the space opened up, we're gonna grab some fountainscape pieces, start fitting them in place, see how they look spatially, and then start to create something. So that's gonna be really fun. But first things first, let's get this dug. We've gotta do a seam from our pond liner to our deep stream liner. Then we can start setting rocks inside here to make this all take shape.
So one of the coolest things about this process is completely organic, and I love incorporating driftwood elements and things other than just rock into the water feature. So Jack just found a piece of a big huge stump that we harvested a few weeks back, and he's about to bring it in, and we're gonna try and work it. So I'm gonna turn the camera on and show you this bad boy. Look at the size of that thing. I mean, that thing is gorgeous. The character, the moss, the lichens. I'm liking the lichen. Liking the lichen. That is sweet. Now we know it's not necessarily driftwood because there is some pieces of it that are rotten back in here, but just the character and all of the cool stuff is all over it. The moss, the lichens, the patina, and the cedar. There's so much cool stuff. The root flare. When you're incorporating driftwood elements or things other than rocks in your water features, what are some of the characteristics you're looking for, and what's the reasoning behind that?
So for me, something like this I probably wouldn't use in the water. This was taken out of the woods. It's already rotting. If you put it in the water, it's going to turn the whole pond brown.
Yep.
When I use driftwood in the water, it's going to be usually salt cured, comes from like Outer Banks or something like that, where it's already been in water and it's somewhat sealed up. But I love the element of wood because honestly, when you look at any natural waterway, there's usually fallen wood, there's a stump worked into the rock work, and kind of the water's lapping up against it, and you get all those marsh plants that fill in around it. It just lends so much credibility to a natural looking water feature.
That's an excellent, excellent point. Well, so we'll strap it up and then we'll see what we can do with it, huh?
Chris is going to trim this up to make it fit. We want to drop it down right behind this boulder, and we're going to take some of the bottom out right here so that sits on top. Once that goes in, then we can just flank it with some other boulders. We're going to take some of our evergreen trees, plant around it, and make that pole disappear. But how awesome is that going to look with some plants going in between all these root structure of this stump? We actually have our excavation started for our deep stream, and you can see how that is just carving through the earth. 18 inches of water going right back towards where that man cave shed is. From there, we're gonna make a right-hander going back to where the waterfall is. We also have to cut another cove in over here for where the fountainscape ties in to this entire feature. I'm ecstatic with the way this entire landscape is turning out with these water features, how it's gonna cut through here and really become part of a virtual backyard. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I am having a fantastic time with the guys from Team Aquascape. My crew is out here just absolutely crushing it. Come on back next week, 4 p.m. We're gonna go on to part 2. We're gonna make our way through the stream. We're talking crossings, fountainscapes, tying it all in to that kick butt man cave studio back there. If you like this kind of stuff, I would love for you to come back, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. Go ahead and hit that like button if this is something you like. We'll see you guys next week.
I've got to move now. Hell yeah.
The fish use it as like a fish treadmill.
Yeah.
I mean, they are up and down this thing all the time. No inspiration for me.
I think, I can imagine like the kids coming out the back door.
I'm treadmilling.
Hopefully it works because your scale is so off that I don't know if this is all going to fit in here.
Cut.